powers throughout all these years of playing Pokemon, and if you give him that consistency, sure enough, this is no surprise to see him here.
Let's go ahead and take a look at these prizes. Both of these players have Origin Form Palkia V in the prize cards, but Yoshi has that Kyurem V to go along with a Crobat V. So a lot of Pokemon in these prize cards for both players. The Manaphy could also be a sign of something to come for Cal there.
Yeah, the 1-1 Palkia line up at the top, a little bit awkward. I got scared for a second and thought it was a double copy. that could be a problem, but looks like both these players will be able to deal with these prize cards. And look at both these players in great spirits, ready to give us an amazing match here in the top 4.
Listen, it's been a long time coming for Yoshi to be here again. You saw that last, the win was 2010, I believe, on the achievements. So a good old 12 years removed. And wow, starting off the top 4 here, Cal has double battle VIP pass. Now going to be able to search the deck for 4 basic Pokemon and get them on the bench.
Drapion V, not exactly ideal in this situation, but you know what? You give me 2 backstage passes and I'll feel pretty confident. And this is a pretty strong start you see here. Going to be able to search out just about everything necessary. I believe that Radiant Greninja should still be available. Yes, it is there.
And the big difference for both of these decks, of course, they are focused around that Origin Form Palkia V-Star in the ability to Star Portal, get some energy in play, but Yoshi is going to rely on a Kyurem VMAX as the big attacker trying to clean up things, and because of that, he's going to be able to play with kind of a relatively small bench throughout the match.
Yeah, I feel like this Drapion could be awkward for Calvin, just in general, any of these Pokemon that you aren't going to be able to clear off by way of a scoop-up net. You're just giving Yoshi an opportunity for multiple prizes that aren't 280 hit points, and that can be where you see that Yoshi's getting to preserve some of those resources, as maybe not needing to discard as many water energies when taking a big knockout.
Taking a look at the hand here, it does look like a water for that concealed cards for Cal here. We'll be able to draw 2 cards thanks to that Radiant Greninja. And wow, finds an Irida off the top of the deck. So for turn 1, looking pretty good. You got those 2 VIP passes, and then next turn you're going to be able to Irida Evolution Incense for pretty much everything you need.
Yeah, that's a strong start, even considering adding the Path to the Peak to this combination here. Could maybe slow down an opposing Radiant Greninja or that Crobat that we know is in the prize cards.
And now it is up to Yoshi to have such a good turn 2 compared to Cal's here. Is going to start things off with a Kyurem V on the bench. You see that Hisuian Heavy Ball, so that'll be able to fetch out some of those basic Pokemon that were stuck in the prizes there.
Yeah, I believe there were a couple of decisions potentially that could be made. Crobat not looking nearly as cool when you see that Path to the Peak.
Yeah, and maybe just a doubles of that Origin Form Palkia V. Again, it is not the star of the deck, but Star Portal is very beneficial, and you only really play 2/2 copies in most of these lists.
No cutting of the prize cards. Respect.
All right, again, taking a look at those prize cards there.
I do like the fact that we see the multi Origin Form Palkia V in a matchup like this. You know your opponent is probably going to be working in a large bench, so maybe you have an opportunity to take some prize cards with a V-Star Pokemon as opposed to a V-Max and really work in that prize exchange.
That was such an awkward turn, though, from Yoshi. Just has to attach an energy and pass. That Path to the Peak is going to be putting a lot of pressure, and we saw Yoshi not to rule the region.
Hey, that's a value choice.
Listening for that win rate.
That's right. I respect it. Even though that means that Yoshi didn't even look through the deck this turn.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a missed opportunity.
Cal does start things off with that Irida, that powerful supporter, searching for a water Pokemon and an item. Going to grab that Origin Form Palkia V-Star and the Capacious Bucket. And thanks to the bucket, 2 water energies. And this is looking like one pretty great turn.
Yep, we'd still see that path out, so maybe a little slower. But we'll see what the rest of the hand has to come along with that.
Well, we know there's that Evolution Incense, so that will be able to grab a Drizzile. There's that Galarian Zigzagoon. I think just maybe getting out of the active is going to be priority number 1 for that Drapion V. Even a cross switcher to go along with it.
Yeah, we do see one cross switcher. That means that this Drizzile could potentially unlock that as an opportunity. Double cross switcher, targeting down one of these Pokemon on the bench, getting some nice damage in play by way of that Palkia V-Star. Doesn't leave much for the following turn, but it just depends on how fast you want to play this.
Cal does find the Drizzile, opting for a good shuffle here.
As opposed to a bad shuffle?
Well,
that's fair.
We're going to see a Shady Dealings most likely. Quick Ball seems to be the option for Cal, discarding that second Water Energy. A little bit of a decision tree here, but Shady Dealings is going to be the play for Cal, eyeing down that Irida for next turn. Remember, has already played one at the start of this turn.
Yeah, I like this a lot. There, of course, was an opportunity to get aggressive and use those cross switchers, but then you're just left with a hand that doesn't go anywhere. Maybe if you have an Evolution Incense or one of those Evolution pieces, you'd feel more confident in going for a play like that. Instead, just going to play it a little slower here. Hold on to those cards, and we know that there is a Quick Ball in hand, so potential to fill the bench on the following turn, and then you can really start eyeing up some of these Pokemon with 220 hit points. There's definitely some plays there with the Choice Belt to start taking knockouts.
Let's see what the top of the deck holds for Yoshi. It looks like a cross switcher, only playing 2 of those, and not really going to be helpful here that much.
Yeah, we see a lot of ball search in the hand, but when you have such a small hand, you just can't really afford to do all that discarding. Are we seeing Rule the Region? Oh no!
Maybe a turn too late though. Is able to go find something like that Lost City Stadium, and the next turn can bump that path to the peak and unlock cards like Luminion V. But you'd have to think this is just really slow.
Yeah. Going to just go ahead and take this card out of the deck. Hopefully, maybe some of these other cards coming on the following turn will be more impactful. We do know that there's at least some play in the hand as far as evolutions when eventually cards are drawn, but you have to think that a supporter is the key that is missing here for Yoshi.
Well, with that Rule of the Region, it is now Cal's turn. Draws a Battle VIP pass for the turn. Not going to be too good. And you can discard that with something like Quick Ball, but we'll start things off with Irida. Irida can go find that Inteleon with its wonderful Shady Dealings ability, but this time can grab 2 cards. And yeah, eyeing down that cross switcher, we're going to see a pretty big turn here.
Yeah, this is pretty sweet. You know, always having access to the Shady Dealings is going to be something that you want to make sure you can do early in the game. Then you make use of the scoop up net, so you can pick that back up and make multiple uses of it in a turn. You have the 2 Sobble, of course, there. One is a Drizzile right now, but being able to get through the deck when your opponent has 0 cards in the discard pile, that's exactly where you want to be in the top 4 of a regional championship.
And that there is that cross switcher bringing up that Kyurem V, and with 2 energies on that Palkia V-Star, is going to need a little bit of help, but thankfully Shady Dealings will grab that Choice Belt. And with this Choice Belt, this Palkia V-Star can take the knockout.
Yep, Choice Belt. Great card to get out early in this game here. Of course, Yoshi trying to keep a smaller bench, only 2, which means that if Calvin gets to the full 5 on his side, that's just 200 damage. So Choice Belt opens that up a little bit, gets to 230, which is a nice knockout there on the Kyurem V. We could also see Scoop Up Net and Galarian Zigzagoon stuff, but you know what? Let's go ahead and throw down the belt, save some resources.
You can always save that scoop up net for that Inteleon. Here we see that Quick Ball going to find the 5th bench, most likely. Do have that Galarian Zigzagoon, but like you said, you could save it for later on.
Yeah.
Eyeing down another Palkia here.
Yeah, math doesn't really line up with the Zigzagoon. You're kind of just wasting damage, and you have to use your placement on a bench Pokemon. So this looks really great. Of course, having that second Palkia V in play means that eventually you will be able to get those energies down. Once the path is removed, you'll have that Star Portal access.
And eyeing down Irida and Evolution Incense for next turn. Cal's going to be setting up. Oh, yeah, just Irida. Next turn, we'll be able to get the Evolution Incense, and from there, just continue this game.
It feels weird, but it's just correct. Just get the card that you're going to play next turn, throw it back up in your hand, and be prepared. And Calvin has made very efficient plays to this point, and sure enough, that is going to be a clean knockout there on the Kyurem V. 230 into a 220. Removing the option for the Kyurem V Max, at least for this foreseeable future, and Yoshi is back to being a Palkia deck, which doesn't have any Inteleon.
I think that makes it a little bit worse.
Slightly.
Now, with that Lost City in hand, Yoshi can start things off with a Lumineon. We'll be able to grab that with Quick Ball, discards the Ultra Ball there. And maybe we'll actually see Yoshi play some Pokemon this match.
Yeah, he does have double choice belt in the deck, so if the bench fills, there could be a knockout. I don't want to get ahead of myself too far. There are 5 cards in hand, and only 1 bench Pokemon right now, but Lumineon's going to try to start working on that.
Luminous Sign searches your deck for a supporter card, puts it in your hand. Irida will grab another Pokemon and an item to go along with it. And with no Path to the Peak in play, Radiant Greninja is going to be able to draw some cards with concealed cards.
Yeah, great find here. Going to just continue to draw because, I mean, honestly, Yoshi hasn't been able to do any of that. This is the first time he's looked through the deck, basically, other than that Rule the Region. And now finally going to see some additional cards to the hand, and going to need some pretty great ones here in order to make a knockout this turn.
And honestly, this whole play could have been done the turn prior, just Yoshi not opting for that Rule the Region on turn 1.
That's a good point. We'll see that Radiant Greninja coming down. The Ultra Ball is in hand. The Palkia V-Star is in hand. So I think if the belt is found in a Pokemon, then it's there. We do see the Empoleon, and we see a Kyurem V Max.
Hey, you got it right.
Whew. 1 for 3.
Origin Form Palkia V-Star gets evolved to the active, and with an energy, we can see a subspace swell for a good amount of damage. Not going to be good enough, though.
Yeah, just feels bad to be a little bit short, but also you don't have to worry about being knocked out on your turn necessarily. We know that that Palkia is hitting for 220 damage right now, meaning that Cal is hitting for 250 on his side with that choice belt. This is a big turn for a potential boss's orders or cross switchers, though, because there are some nice prize cards available. You see that Origin Form Palkia V on the bench, and of course, Lumineon V is probably going to be the last card that Calvin goes after.
Yeah, and this is that Inteleon Shady Dealings, finding 2 trainers. Most likely going to be a combination of something like those cross switchers or boss's orders here for Cal.
Yeah, this feels like the early stages of the Arceus decks going back and forth, where the decks were so focused on adding extra damage and working on knockouts of just that basic Arceus V. And sure enough, we're in a situation now where Yoshi just missed the setup, and all of these basic Vs are available to be knocked out. And Cal is not working nearly as hard as he has to take prize cards, even though his damage output isn't as strong as Yoshi's.
It does look like double cross switcher will be the find off the Shady Dealings, and I believe that's the 3rd and 4th copy. Yep. Now with this, Cal will be able to get out of the active spot, bring up that Origin Form Palkia V most likely on the bench, and we'll just need a way to retreat the Pokemon that gets brought up, or maybe even just get a new Palkia V.
We see the Irida coming down. So just going to make sure that everything is available for potential closeout on the following turn. Going to have the Origin Form Palkia V Star lined up, ready to go. The level ball for a potential Drizzile. And really just going to need a boss's orders on the next turn to close out. And that is pretty phenomenal setup. You'd have to think that Cal has drawn this up exactly how he wants to.
Well, it's just the fact that you got a few extra turns to play around with. You were able to get your full setup, those Inteleons going, and from that, yeah, here's the boss's orders. Maybe even saving the double cross switcher in hand for next turn. Or no, already played the Irida. Nice.
Oh, yeah, we see the boss now. I guess there was an opportunity to maybe go for a card like the Scoop Up Net, pick up the Inteleon, and be a little more resistant to a Roxanne. But having the card ready to go, I mean, you basically tell Yoshi, hey, you better win right now.
Training Court does bump that Lost City. We'll be able to grab a water from the discard. Cal can now attach that water to that Palkia V-Star on the bench. Here is that cross switcher, brings up that V-Star, and with plenty of Pokemon in play, Subspace Swell will be able to take the knockout.
Yep, exactly 220. Going to
plenty.
be a great number to reach. 2 prize cards for Calvin, and we'll see what's left here.
Yoshi just does not want to discard that Palkia, you know.
give him another chance. He was so young.
Yoshi drawing for the turn another Kyurem VMAX off the top, and these are just clogging the hand at this point. Is going to be forced to Ultra Ball a few of these away at least. And honestly, what do you even get?
That's a great point. You know, the Crobat is still in the prize cards, I believe.
Yep.
Is there a second Luminion V?
Nope.
I don't know what's happening then.
Listen, maybe we're going to have the retreat into the Luminion Star Portal Aqua return. Get that off the board. It's not good, but okay.
I recognize this play. This is the play that I do a lot. We're going to game 2.
Yeah, just a bad sequence of draws for Yoshi there, and Cal just playing out the deck perfectly, able to get that quick lead and really just keep the pressure going. Yeah,
that was basically perfect for Calvin, and it's not that he necessarily did anything too incredible. He just watched his opponent just play a bunch of Vs and lined up some really nice knockouts. And that's pretty much how you draw it up as a Palkia player. You'd love to have an opportunity where you can cash in and not be working on 2-hit knockouts. And that's obviously exactly what Yoshi's working on with all the high hit points he's dealing with on his side when he does evolve.
Yeah, and getting that VMAX in play is going to be huge in this game and potentially a game 3. You saw that supporter in hand before Yoshi scooped his Cheryl. That's a way to just kind of clean up the damage after you take a big knockout with Kyurem. Maybe just buy yourself another turn. And right now, that's what Yoshi needs, is just some more turns.
If Yoshi sets up, he's got so many cards that can help him. He's got so many cards that they press the advantage that you currently already have, but getting the setup is the scariest part. And sure enough, you do see cards like that Crobat, the Luminion, always trying to help. You really need help from that Radiant Greninja on the early turn, and that's where Calvin was able to use that path to the peak and slow things down. He made use of his engine in the Inteleon, where as Yoshi just sat there with nothing to do.
Yeah, that powerful one-of supporter in Calvin's deck, really showing off that game. Let's go ahead and take a look at the prizes here for both of these players. Luminion in the prizes and double Kyurem VMAX.
No.
Drapion in the prizes for Cal. That's
oh,
perfect.
No.
All right, yeah.
Double Evolution Incense could be a little awkward, and playing with just 5 water energies.
That's all the Evolution Incense in the deck.
Okay.
All right.
That is weird. That could certainly be something that we see in the future. Yoshi going to have just the one Hiram VMAX. So that
Woo!
I don't like that.
Thankfully, it is towards the bottom, so maybe if Yoshi gets set up this game, take some prizes, we can see some of those drawn later on. For right now, we're going to start off with a Capacious Bucket, and Yoshi, starting that Radiant Greninja, will actually be able to use concealed cards this game, and Battle VIP Pass to go along with it.
Yep, that's how you draw it up. You have the Radiant Greninja starting things off. You're going to have access to concealed cards because your opponent doesn't get to play that path down just yet. You have an opportunity to start working through the deck in Battle VIP Pass, finding 2 key Pokemon there.
From here, Yoshi does have the energy. Thanks to that Capacious Bucket, we'll be able to concealed cards and at least get an attachment for the turn. And that's all you can really ask for with a deck like Hiram VMAX. You really just need to get those pieces into play so that you can eventually get those Hiram VMAX into play, and from there you just start knocking everything out. Ooh, Irida off the top.
I like it. We see the Quick Ball as well, so can think about having a 3rd Pokemon here on the bench. We did see earlier that the double Palkia was something that Yoshi went for. Curious to see if that is the strategy this time around as well.
Honestly, I think that's just the downside of having to go second in a matchup against that Origin Form Palkia V-Star Inteleon. It's, you basically know, as long as your opponent has access to those Drizzile, those Inteleon, they're going to be taking a knockout. And while Origin Form Palkia V is not the main attacker for the deck, its Star Portal is very beneficial for Yoshi.
Oh, we can see Yoshi understanding that perfectly, going with the double Kyurem here instead, and obviously a key point to watch for is going to be the evolution of that Palkia V to make sure that you have at least some access to that Star Portal.
All right, taking a look at the hand for Cal. We got a couple search cards and Quick Ball, Level Ball, Ultra Ball, and the Irida.
He's balling.
Say ballin'.
Yeah, Irida start things off pretty awesome there. A little bit weird because you don't see the energies just yet, so instead of going for the Battle VIP Pass, going to go for the Capacious Bucket instead, which seems fine, as there's plenty of ways to search out Pokemon in the hand.
It's going to have to be a little careful of a Moonlight Shuriken from Yoshi's side of things on the next turn. So it's going to have to try to find that one-of copy of Manaphy to try and protect the bench a little bit, try to get those Sobbles sticking around for just a little bit longer, and maybe getting into some Drizzile shenanigans.
Yeah, that really highlights the advantage of going first in a matchup like this, as if you only have the 1 Sobble down, if we target that, you're in trouble. If you have 2 Sobbles down and no Manaphy, you're in trouble. If you get 1 Palkia down, you're in trouble. So you gotta make sure you have multiple copies of these cards, and it's just a lot to ask of your deck to have basically a full bench if you don't have access to a Battle VIP Pass. Going to be big for Radiant Greninja to help out here and maybe find some additional resources here off the top.
Well, honestly, with the way Cal's hand is set up, you have that Quick Ball, you have that Level Ball, and really just have to discard maybe a couple resources with that Ultra Ball. I think I even saw a second Quick Ball, so who really needs Battle VIP Pass? I think Cal can put together a pretty strong turn here without it.
We can see the sequencing as important, as Cal is not going to play any of the search effects first, rewarded with a Sobble.
Oh, it was my mistake. Not a second Quick Ball, but the Ordinary Rod. So thankfully, with that Sobble found, you don't need to search for another one. You can go get that Manaphy now, and opts to get the Manaphy with Quick Ball, I believe. Yep. That just means Level Ball is going to be saved for Drizzile next turn.
Oh, there's the Quick Ball. But yeah, that is important to note. Holding on to one of these cards is going to be the way to get out of an awkward hand, because currently there is no supporter to follow up. So the Ultra Ball likely going to have to be looking for that Drizzile on the follow-up.
Origin Form Palkia V is the card chosen for Cal here. has the energy to attach for turn. You can, I guess, attach it to the Sobble if you want and fill up the bench. And I think that's what Cal is choosing to do here. Keep calling.
Why not? Let's go ahead and grab it. So it looks like the concealed cards grabbing the Sobble wasn't very good. Just a wasted card there, but hey, got a full bench. The one real risk here, though, we know that that's just that one Palkia V in play and a full bench. Yoshi could have a knockout lined up if the cards flow the right way.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the top of the deck. Irida for Yoshi, I believe. Maybe already had one in hand. If not, still one of the best cards in this deck to draw.
Important to note the reach for Yoshi isn't as strong as Calvin's. Of course, the damage that he gets to is pretty impressive, but just in general, needs a lot more help from cards like Radiant Greninja. Not going to have access to these individual item cards like the Cross Switcher. Just going to have to rely on the Irida to help out. So if you find a piece here, I think he did actually find the Cross Switcher. That's huge.
Insane.
Because the Irida can help out in getting the additional piece now.
I'm going to take a quick look. The second Cross Switcher is not in the prizes, so it's still available for Yoshi here.
Yeah, he's got the reach here. There's 240 damage available for a Palkia V-Star. The Irida can go ahead and grab that along with the additional Cross Switcher. And I think there's plenty of energies for the Star Portal. Well, plenty is probably not the word. There is a Wash Energy in hand and at least one in the discard.
Yeah, Wash Energy in hand, the one in the discard that was brought back with the Training Court and then concealed cards. You can retreat the one off the Greninja in the active. And with that, yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a pretty lined up KO here for Yoshi, finding that Cross Switcher and Origin Form Palkia V-Star with this Irida. And this is how a lot of these Palkia matchups really go. It's, can I go first? Get the Star Portal Cross Switcher. If I do, I'm going to be sitting pretty. And this is where you see Cal missing the second Origin Form Palkia V on his own bench.
Yep, the setup is so crucial, and we see that if that one Sobble was a Palkia V, then this is a completely different game, as Calvin would have a potential response here. And we do see that retreat up to the Kyurem V. Don't be alarmed. This is only for Cross Switcher. It's going to be the Palkia V up to the active on both players' sides. And this was just to have the opportunity now to place that Water Energy or Wash Energy wherever you want it and not have to just have it on the Radiant Greninja now.
Attaching it to the active, the V-Star comes down for Yoshi. Has the V-Max to go along with it as well. And here we're going to see that Star Portal V-Star power ability from Palkia V-Star. Going to get the energy on the active, energy on the Kyurem V-Max. And from here, you can Primate Wisdom. Why not pick out an extra card and Rotom Phone?
Yeah, especially when you start thinking about the transition from the Palkia to the Kyurem V-Max. It's going to be a nice card, but hey, 2 prizes are even better. Let's go ahead and take a knockout here on that Palkia V and really press the advantage here in game number 2 of the top 4.
Yeah, this puts Cal back at least 2 turns. You're going to need to get another Palkia in play. Hopefully that survives something like a Boss's Orders play from Yoshi next turn. And then you're going to need to get the V-Star yourself and continue things going. And this is where having the bench full of just these support Pokemon are not going to help.
There's no guarantee that your opponent doesn't just Boss's Orders the Palkia V as well. You need to find a scoop up net and place down 2 Palkia V if you really want to feel safe.
Listen, Kyle, this is a safe space.
Not for Palkias.
Cal eyeing down that Irida is going to be able to find that Origin Form Palkia V and an item to go along with it, but most likely going to be something like that scoop up net at the top of the deck, just hiding out.
Yep, seems like a good play here. Could always pick up that Drizzile, get the Sobble up into the hand, replay the Drizzile, and then work in the second Palkia V. Feels horrible to potentially be giving up so many prize cards, but this is the only real way that you get a relevant attacker out next turn.
Honestly, though, Yoshi got that another Kyurem VMAX from the prizes, so we're just going to be seeing a ton of stuff for Yoshi to do next turn, and honestly, if Yoshi finds that boss, it's going to be over. Cal's going to most likely scoop, and we're going to see game 3.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways for Yoshi to get there. I don't think we saw them just yet. No energy in the hand, I think. So maybe that will be the piece that unlocks a lot of this, as access to concealed cards, maybe some help from Oranguru could help with that extension.
Scoop up net and that Palkia V were the cards chosen for Cal. And while not doing much this turn, he's going to have to do his best just to set up an attacker for the turn after. Scoop Up Net can bring back that Drizzile and reuse Shady Dealings yet again. You see the hand there. Oh, Ultra Ball discarding a V-Star and a Marnie.
Yeah, we see another Drizzile here. Potentially going for another searching effect. Contemplating the cross switcher here. Yeah, this is kind of tricky. I don't know if there's a quick ball available. Oh, I do see one, so potentially could go and grab the Palkia V that way. Although we did see that the one Palkia V star was discarded, so at least a nod from Calvin, understanding that I don't think that I'm going to be able to evolve both of these.
Yeah. Oh, discarding the... Oh, okay. Sequencing. Oh, bench down the Sobble, but...
All right, so this is a little confusing. I don't think there wasn't a discard with the quick ball, was there?
I don't think so. I don't think the quick ball has been played yet.
Well, it's in the discard pile, so that's a little awkward.
But honestly, here, just the sequencing from Calvin, you scoop up net that Drizzile so you can reuse that Shady Dealings, but straight away bench the Sobble.
Yeah, so this may have been just a situation where the next card played was the discard effect of the quick ball, and just that being applied here. So going to miss out on getting the second benched Palkia V.
Again, this is where sequencing is so important, especially with a deck that is able to do so much with Shady Dealings. You can search your deck for any trainer card multiple times a turn. So the quick ball does find the Origin Form Palkia V, but I think the Shady Dealings was failed. And I think they're trying to clarify that now. So was it the second Palkia V-Star discarded off quick ball?
Yes, well, it was discarded off of one of the effects.
Well, but then Cal chose to discard another card with quick ball.
That's the card right there. No, with quick ball, but what did I do with the net when I have all this? You took the quick ball. So you netted.
Looks like we're just trying to get a little bit of an understanding of how that went. Just speaks again to the importance of the sequencing, making sure that you pick up all those cards, play them in the correct order. We've seen a lot of shortcuts this week. Not necessarily any malintents, just ends up with some situations where these things occur then.
So I think it's either going to be a fail of the search from the Shady Dealings from the active, or it found the quick ball that was used here, and Ordinary Rod will be able to shuffle back those V-Star that were just discarded during this turn. But you can tell Cal's a little flustered.
Yeah, this really does put all the eggs in this one Palkia's basket now. One boss's orders, any way to really push through at this point for Yoshi, you'd have to think that that would be game sealing. And so this is going to lead to a fairly big turn. We don't see much in the hand right now for Yoshi. Does find an Irida, but we know it's only the double cross switcher in the deck, not the 4 copies.
Yeah, only having access to one other boss's orders. If there's a way to grab...
We do see the Rotom phone, I believe, happening here. So that could certainly open things up.
Luminion and the prizes. Luminion would be able to go grab the boss's orders, but...
We see the wash energy that you could potentially grab with the Oranguru and then discard by way of the Radiant Greninja to push a little further.
That might have to be the route here, I guess. Just take the turn off with the Melanie, and I say taking the turn off, but you're still going to get a knockout, go down to 3 prize cards, but that's not where you want to be. You want to be able to just shut Calvin down from even declaring an attack. You gotta love Yoshi.
Yeah, he says he's gonna just grab the card and then go back in with the Surge. So yeah, I actually don't want any of those cards. I'm just gonna Irida.
With this Irida, he will be able to find a water Pokemon and an item, and now we'll just have to see how things shape up. Capacious Bucket pulled to the front.
Yeah, this is completely fine. There's no real reason to overcommit in a situation like this. Right now, if you have the reach to just get some additional energy onto the Kyurem VMAX, you have to think that that would be a way to close out on a return Palkia V-Star from Calvin. So you just take that 1 prize card, and then you'll have the answer to the 1 big attacker remaining.
And with that Irida, it finds that Kyurem V. Capacious Bucket will find those 2 water energies. Yoshi makes sure to play it out as clean as possible.
Yep, still plenty of options here. We can see the concealed cards. I believe the Melanie is still an option here, and then...
Well, Melanie got shuffled away. Irida was played.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Well, we will still see that there's the training courts, and you can work in the Oranguru plus Glaciated World at some point.
So the big pickup here for this turn is going to be that Hisuian Heavy Ball. Granted, you won't be able to utilize the Lumineon V next turn, but it is sticking around in the prize cards. That's the one way to search out for boss's orders. For
it was a water anyways.
Oh.
Gotta believe in the heart of the cards. Wow, look at that. What a top deck. Glaciated World, of course. That amazing ability from the Kyurem VMAX. Going to accelerate and get ready for a big potential knockout on the following turn. Still haven't seen an energy attachment as well. And here is that Hisuian Heavy Ball you were speaking of.
Going to nab that Lumineon V from the prize cards. Be useful for next turn. Yoshi still has a Glaciated World available to him. Granted, you always want to do that when you know the top card is a water energy.
Believe. Or throw away a boss or something.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Training Court grabs back an energy. We'll get one for the turn on that fresh Kyurem VMAX.
Yep, preparing for everything now. Going to remove the training court so that Calvin doesn't get to use it as well.
Lost City now getting rid of that Manaphy. Let's get that Lost Zone counter up. 1 for Cal.
And yeah, that's it. That's about that.
Yeah, honestly, once those Kyurem VMAX get fully powered up, it's rough to even take a prize off of those Pokemon. So even though there were 3 prizes and you can kind of take a turn or 2 and 2-hit it, that's not going to happen when Kyurem VMAX is just smacking you in the face every turn for a couple prizes.
Yeah, when Yoshi's deck sets up, you have to think that he is favored. Also, just a little slower on Calvin's side that turn, that time around. But that's why they invented Game 3, right? This is for all the marbles to get into the finals here of Peoria Regional Championships. Both these players, 36 minutes remaining on the clock, and you have to think that it is anyone's game.
Yeah, plenty of time left in this round to finish a full game. These decks are not slow decks, to say the least. Granted, a lot of decisions to make during each of these turns. But both of these players have been here before. Calvin is going to be able to go first, but that does come with a little bit of a downside. You're not going to be able to use Irida, but you do get to evolve.
Well, I think that means that we're going to be looking for everyone's favorite card, the Battle VIP Pass. That is what makes and breaks games for Palkia going first. If you can find that card, it makes a world's difference. Being able to evolve early and have a turn 2 attack and that turn 2 Drizzile potentially, ooh, it gets scary quick.
It's pretty crazy to me how Battle VIP Pass rose to prominence in this meta. Usually just a card that was found in decks like Mew VMAX, really just trying to get set up very quickly. You're able to discard those because you play 4 Ultra Ball and the like, but now it's essentially just every deck going, wow, getting 2 Pokemon on turn 1 for 1 card is insane. Why don't I run 4 of these?
Yeah, a lot of players just taking the risk. It's worth that because the reward means you're probably going to win some games. Speaking of winning games, Tord Reckliffe up game 1. So potential to see Tord Reckliffe as the opponent here. We'll see how that goes. Of course, Zach Kreckler fighting for his life now in game number 2.
Radiant Greninja hiding out in the prize cards for Yoshi there. Not the best.
Yeah, we know how big that is. Yoshi needs that card to really start getting through the deck. He doesn't have an opportunity like Cal has with all of the evolutions. But hey, if you want to evolve, you need Sobbles, and that's 2 in the prizes.
All right, we're starting things off. Game 3 for our top 4 match here in Peoria, Illinois. Kyurem V up against an Origin Form Palkia V. Cal starts off the turn with a Quick Ball, discards the Water Energy for that Radiant Greninja. And no Battle VIP Pass just yet.
And when your opponent discards the Water Energy, you think, well, there's got to be more of that coming, right? And I'm sure we will see more of that, leading into some concealed cards here. And this is once again a crucial turn to find a Sobble.
Of course, players having a good time up here on top 4.
That's a nice find. The Hisuian Heavy Ball is going to perfectly line up with one of those Sobbles there. And even if he draws into the Hisuian Heavy Ball as a prize, you could just grab another Sobble.
Yeah, why not? Double dipping.
Just prize all your Sobbles. That's how you win games, kids.
Don't do that.
Oh.
All right, well, it looks like a couple supporters down at the bottom of the prizes for Cal here. Is going to continue his turn. Energy on that Origin Form Palkia V. Oh, wow, and that was a huge heavy ball, too, finding that Sobble. Had the Drizzile in hand, but nothing else other than the Irida, so he's going to have a pretty good turn. But meanwhile, speaking of heavy balls.
Yeah, she said, anything you can do, I can do better. I can find Radiant Greninja better than you.
Again, it's going to be a little awkward that Origin Form Palkia V, and there is only a 2 of for the deck, so especially going second, you're going to have to be careful of benching that in response to your opponent's attacks.
Yeah, that's a great point. Any other benching that happens along with the Radiant Greninja, you'd have to think would be a sole Origin Form Palkia V, as you don't want to hit that magic 3rd bench space on this opening turn here. That really just lines up for an easy knockout. And sure enough, holding on to the Palkia V right there. Fantastic for Yoshi.
Quick Ball here will be able to find Yoshi another Pokemon. But again, you run the risk of having that bench being filled up.
I think he has to. There's nothing
Lumineon?
else. There's nothing else in this hand right now. It's just so slow. There's no energy. There's no real support card that you want to work in right now. So I think the Lumineon's just going to have to be the best bet, and you just hope your opponent doesn't have the reach. You only see one Sobble, so maybe this is an opportunity now where you can try to at least get your setup going and just hope that that Palkia V sticks around.
Definitely a risky play for sure, but here is that luminous sign from Lumineon V. Finds the Irida. Irida will be able to find most likely the V-Star or that V-Max, depending on what Yoshi needs for next turn, and Capacious Bucket. Capacious Bucket can find some energies, and from there you can conceal cards, you can attach for turn.
Yeah, I think I like this here. Just go for the Kyurem V with an understanding that it's probably going to be enough for a knockout on the active Pokemon from this Palkia V, but have your opponent also having the reach with a Boss's Orders or double Cross Switcher is much more unlikely. So set yourself up with 2 of those and just kind of hedge the bet a little bit that you're not going to lose access to both of your big V Pokemon.
Well, now we're going to see a concealed cards from Yoshi. It's going to be a pretty big 2 cards here to try to find some stuff.
Love the sequencing. Not benching just yet. Could find some cards to maybe help with these decisions here. Finds Wash Roxanne. Not
really gonna
exactly what we're looking for. It's monkey time.
Rangaroo on the bench. It's Primate Wisdom, able to put a card back from your hand to draw the top card of the deck. So you just basically swap it out. Really great in combination with that Kyurem VMAX.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of players using the Rangaroo with considerations to Marnie, making sure to have a nice card on the top of the deck so that you're never left with a dead hand. Could be the consideration here, maybe even that wash energy or something of that sort, but looks like the Cheryl's going to be the decision now.
This full bench is so scary on Yoshi's side of things, and looking at Cal's hand, he has everything to take the knockout on that Origin Form Palkia V. Granted, maybe now you want to target the Kyurem, but I guess that's why Yoshi got that second one.
Yes, and you like fireworks? Me too. We're going to see a lot of them, and nice full benches likely going to be for both players.
Looking at Cal's hand, it does have access to like Cross Switcher and stuff like that, but bench Pokemon, I don't know if you're going to be able to.
Doesn't necessarily need it. One more Pokemon is enough to start taking knockouts on these V Pokemon. 220 going to be the magic number for so many on the opposite side. Of course, to do that, you're going to probably need the Palkia V-Star, and we see that being looked up by an Irida.
Now you have the Drizzile and Cross Switcher in hand already. So it's really going to depend on the other item here, Evolution Incense.
Yep, Training Court Drizzile and the Cross Switcher. So good cards, but in a situation like this, you want to have more cards. And maybe that leans towards something like a Capacious Bucket, something like that. Just some more draw from the Radiant Greninja.
Especially, you know, charging up a way to either retreat or getting a scoop-up net.
Well, Galvin says, hey, let's just evolve everything. That'll work. Already has an Evolution Incense in hand, but going to go for an additional one here.
Does this signal more of maybe just taking the knockout on the actives, saving those cross switchers?
This could also just be more of a defensive line if you have the hit points available from the Palkia V-Star, then you're not as concerned about being knocked out by the Kyurem VMAX. But I think that only works if we're talking about that Kyurem being benched last turn. So here's the path.
That's a big one.
That's so this means that we're looking towards that Evolution Incense being for next turn for that Inteleon, which is also a very strong play. Does maybe walk into some issues if Yoshi is able to remove that or get a Moonlight Shuriken into the mix.
All right, you got the Star Portal, 2 energy in the discard. Now that Palkia V-Star is charged up, Path to the Peak, Subspace Swell takes the knockout. Cal goes down to 4 prize cards here in top 4. Yoshi has to deal with that Path to the Peak in play before you can really get things going with that Kyurem VMAX and Radiant Greninja. Does have 3 stadiums in the list to bump it.
Yeah, what a position to be in currently when you get to take that big knockout early on. You didn't have to fill your bench. You get to hold on to some of those resources, have that Inteleon for the following turn, and now you're really just looking to dodge a big turn here for Yoshi. And we know that he is holding on to a couple nice cards, but is it enough to potentially work in a knockout here?
It doesn't look like it, Kyle. Not having access to abilities for that Kyurem or the Greninja Gonna have to rely on this Primate Wisdom off the top. Something like an Irida. Still doesn't do it. Not actually able to get a stadium from there, so it really just has to be a stadium. And
There's the water energy. That would have been nice with Glaciated World if we ever were able to use some of these abilities.
do we Ultra Ball for another Rangaroo?
We're pushing it, aren't we?
Kiram VMAX on to the active. But that path to the peak is proving its worth yet again for Cal here. Able to seal up game 1 with it, and now looking to do the same in game 3.
Yeah, isn't that something? Just one stadium able to really provide such an impact here. Basically shutting down everything that Yoshi wants to do, and looks like that's just going to be the turn.
Oh no. All right. Back to Cal here. Has that Evolution Incense from the turn prior. Also has the Irida in hand.
Yeah, this is where you start thinking about just having a secondary attacker potentially. Can you work in the cross switcher to target down that Palkia V and then close out on Luminion on the following turn?
The road map is laid out for Cal here to try to make it into Masters Finals.
Yeah, we do see that cross switcher. Big card there. And of course, we know the Evolution Incense already in hand, so that Inteleon could be found if Calvin needs the reach this turn.
Evolution Incense now will find that Inteleon. Shady Dealings allows Cal to search for 2 more trainer cards, and honestly, when you have access to your entire deck like this, it has to feel daunting sitting across the table from it with Yoshi.
Yep, looks like potential for that Capacious Bucket, just getting an additional energy onto the Palkia V would be ideal, and lining up a boss's orders once more.
Now just doing some quick math here. I believe, what, 1 more bench Pokemon will be able to take the knockout.
Yep, we're looking at 200 right now.
And we know Cal already has that Sobble in hand. It's only a matter of time. Now, do you have an easy way to retreat? I'm probably just going to attach that Sobble and retreat it. Or the Greninja, you know, anyone with 1 retreat cost.
Yep, seems fine to me. And we are going to see that Palkia V-Star doing work one more time here, targeting down the single Origin form Palkia V. And that is crucial, as Yoshi's not going to have access to that V-Star, at least on this turn now. And I mean, there's a lot that needs to be asked of this Roxanne right now. Path to the peak certainly needs to be bumped here. A choice belt would be ideal, as you could potentially work in the knockout. And you need Calvin to not see anything that gets towards a Drizzile or an Irida.
Also needing a water on the top of the deck after that Path to the Peak is bumped.
Believe
with,
in the monkey.
Yeah, Primate Wisdom can do that for Yoshi here. And like you said, big 6 cards here. And Cal getting that Sobble down is pretty heads-up playing. At least have an open spot for a Drizzile in case it's drawn.
Yep, also lined up the math pretty well to take a knockout. that's value. 6 cards here going to be pretty crucial. Obviously, the big one here is, can we get that stadium bumped? We do see the Lost City.
Ooh.
Don't see anything else really to help. The double Rangaroo might make an impact. If you can find a card off the top that gets you at least an energy, then you can
work. Has to be like Primate Wisdom into Capacious Bucket.
Drop the second one, and yeah, that would help out.
Now, granted, you do have Ultra Ball to find Crobat V to continue to draw some cards, but Yoshi playing it well here, not playing that stadium just yet. Get as much information as you can as possible.
And pulling on a card that could be discarded or played just to get it out of the hand. Certainly have to be thinking about a Crobat in a situation like this. You already have the Luminion V down, so it doesn't really matter necessarily. That boss's orders would likely be closing out a game either way. And there are some big cards still left to be found here, looking for the energy and the choice belt here to deal 300 damage.
I think Yoshi just thinking about if saving this Melanie over the cross switcher is worth it, but it's a tough choice. You know there's one back in the deck, I believe. And yeah, here is that Ultra Ball going to find Crobat V. And as long as Yoshi doesn't bench it before playing that Lost City, we'll see some more cards drawn here.
Don't do it. Give us the Lost City. Yeah, Dark Asset going to be the ability relied on here to keep Yoshi in this game. Just showing the card here, saying I'm grabbing this with Ultra Ball.
A little talk between the judges here. Okay, it looks like it was just some insufficient shuffling for Yoshi here. Now getting that deck fully shuffled up.
Yep, plenty of time here in game number 3. Take an extra second, get a couple extra riffles in there. Assuming that'll just be a warning. We'll get to continue on with our play here. Going to be looking towards a big ability here off this Crobat V. Needing a lot of help. Has the monkeys to back it up.
Lost City in hand to go along with it.
Yoshi's Table Talk is top tier. At least that will come of this game no matter what.
Lost City, Oranguru, Crobat, Dark Asset for 5 cards. Gonna need to find a few energy here. Choice Belt would help out a lot.
Yep. We'll see what is found here. I don't even see it.
No
Water
energy at all.
That is disgusting when you think about the Oranguru already being used. There's one more that could lead to finding it off of the something off the Primate Wisdom, but it's starting to get scary.
At what point do you just Glaciated World the top card randomly?
I'm about to do it now.
Rotom Phone.
Rotom Phone.
Okay.
But still, you need to go find a water energy or a wash energy, and then find 2 nice cards off of the Radiant Greninja, I suppose.
All right. Water energy off the top. No. And with that, Yoshi's not going to be able to attack this turn with that Kyurem VMAX. Already having attached for the turn before all of this stuff happened.
Yep, the scoop up net being thought about.
And not taking the knockout on Cal's Origin Form Palkia V-Star. That Roxanne, it's usually a lie, Kyle. And I'm not lying when I tell you there's Irida in hand for Cal.
Oh, yeah, that's a good card.
Yeah, that's a card that searches for a Drizzile Cross Switcher. And from there, it should be pretty easy. I guess you're going to need to find a way to retreat.
Well, with 3 retreat costs, not going anywhere, going to just pass the turnover. We see that Calvin does have that Irida, going to search the deck now, trying to find a potential closeout knockout in this top 4. Don't see the energies or anything to go along with that. So potentially going to have to work in the scoop up net or something of that sort to make that happen.
Well, Calvin has time here. Yoshi has not taken a prize yet this game. You have 2 prizes left. You can go ahead and grab that Origin Form Palkia V-Star, grab the scoop up net, reset your Inteleon, and with Drizzle, you can go and grab a Capacious Bucket, get an energy on that V-Star. So now both of them are powered up, and you can even conceal the cards if you want. And then from there, you have another Irida. You have that Inteleon to get those cross switchers for next turn and seal the game up. Yoshi's already used that Roxanne. Taking a look through, it is just that one of Roxanne. I guess, yeah, no Marnie to speak of, so no real way to disrupt the hand. And with that, it's pretty much checkmate position for Cal here.
That's the word that was going to the tip of my tongue as well. Dealing max damage here with the 260 available from Subspace Swell. Going to put a hurtin' onto that Kirim VMAX, and Yoshi with one of the worst benches imaginable in terms of attacking power. Going to have to try to get the job done.
Now, we knew about that scoop up net on top of the deck. And honestly, just with the way these cards have been drawn in sequence for Yoshi, unfortunate past couple of turns.
Safe to say, we see the Palkia V-Star being added to the hand. And there's another hand. We are going to see the extension. Yoshi with the concession to Calvin Connor, who's going to be moving on to the finals here in the Peoria Regional Championships.
Who would have thought? Palkia V-Star and Inteleon making its way.
I said this.
I was setting you up. It's fine. It's fine. No, insane play from Cal there. Just playing perfectly to his outs, and Yoshi stumbling a couple games there. That path to the peak really proving its worth in Cal's deck.
Yeah, what a wild ride for Calvin, honestly, with basically no shot to get into the top 8, and then we have a tie on stream, opening up a space. He gets in at 8th with 34 points, the only 34-pointer, and then he works his way through diligently, fighting, and gets this opportunity now, taking out a huge deck, that Kirim VMAX, and that was probably one of the scarier matchups, honestly, when you see the attack power being able to take big one-hit knockouts against that Palkia V-Star. That's not something you necessarily see against every deck.
Yeah, for sure. And congrats to Yoshi again for making top 4 here in Peoria. One of the largest regionals we've had in the Pokemon TCG. Accomplishment to be had for sure. And Cal, looking forward to either facing another Kirim VMAX deck in finals or toward with that Lost Box deck.
Yeah, absolute pleasure to have Yoshi on stream multiple times throughout the weekend. Always love having him up there, and it looks like he's having a great time, and he just makes everyone else have a great time along with him.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to maybe see Palkia V-Star take down this tournament for Lost Origins.
yeah, wouldn't that be something?
Who would have thought Lost Origin didn't have really much anything to add to this deck, but still going strong.
I thought you were going to say that Lost Origin hasn't done anything to the game. Oh, God.
No, it's done a lot.
Yeah, I think the 400 decks probably with a pretty big impact from that set. And we certainly have seen so many players looking to play the new cards. And that's when you have this expansion of so many different decks, and that means that you don't have the targeting that goes on in the general tournaments, where it's just like, oh, I just need to beat these Arceus decks. Okay, I'll play this.